Hey, everybody, and welcome to another office hours session. This week, we are going to be talking with the InSpec team about new things coming down the pipe for the InSpec product and also answering some community questions. Thank you, InSpec team, for joining.
Hello.
So first, before we get into the meat and potatoes of our content, our office hours session, let's start with some pre-flight checks. If you are not following us on Twitter, you really should be. Follow us on Twitter at Chef, and that's where you'll find your latest updates about content that's coming out and new product updates. Also, for more forum-like communication, if you're, say, on a time zone that the Slack channel might not be up and running or booming, check out our Discourse, discourse.chef.io. We actually pull community questions from Discourse to answer on our live streams. And definitely join our community Slack. You can send an email for an invite, or you can just go to community.chef.io and get an invite from there. All right. So let's jump into the content today. First, let's have like a very brief introduction of each of the folks on the call. Thanks so much for joining. We've got like a good portion of the InSpec team on the call here, so I really appreciate you guys. Clinton, as a fearless leader, why don't you kick it off with introductions?
Sure. My name's Clinton Wolf. I'm the engineering manager that works with the InSpec team. I've been with the Chef in Progress for over 5 years. I've worked with the InSpec team as a individual contributor and a engineering manager now for over 5 years, either on the InSpec team or the Cloud Resources team for 5 years. So yeah, deep experience on the InSpec team. So
great. So you're like subject matter expert.
Yeah. So been with the InSpec team for a while, and with us on the call is the entire InSpec team. As a matter of fact, we've got everybody on the call.
That's awesome. So let's do a roundtable. Let's start with you, Vishandra. Oop. Is Vishandra having? It looks like you're on mute.
Vishandra, you're mute. There you go.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I hope now I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are. So I'm working with InSpec from last 2 years, but I'm working with Chef like almost now 6 years. I work on the different products like Chef Infra, Knife, and now like compliance team, content, and the InSpec team. So yeah, so that is pretty much a brief introduction. I hope I will be helpful today to answer your questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Sonu, how about you?
Hello, I'm Sonu. I work as a software engineer here at InSpec, and it's been over a year. And I have got quite a good chance and opportunities working on some of the cool features of InSpec. Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Lokesh, how about we go with you next?
Thanks, Kia. Hello, everyone. I am Lokesh, and I'm currently working as a senior product manager for Chef Compliance product portfolio. It's been with Chef for almost like 2.5 years, and it's been a great journey so far. And prior to Chef, I have been working with security products with Oracle Cloud Security, Symantec Norton Antivirus, and Radware related bot management products. And on a personal note, I have written a book on product management. It is Product Management Simplified. Yeah. So that's about me.
Awesome. Okay, published author. in the mix. That's great. Thanks, Lakesh. Nikita, how about you go next?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Nikita Mathur. I'm senior software engineer in Chef InSpec, and I've been working with InSpec for the last 2.5 years. And it's been an amazing journey. And hope you guys have fun today, and we can answer your questions.
Great. Thanks, Nikita. Samir, last but not least.
Yeah. Hey everyone. So I'm principal engineer student at Progress. I've been with Progress from around 7 to 8 years, and within Spec I've been working around 4 years. And basically I work on all the cloud platform for Spec and resource Spec support. Basically I provide, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Let's see. Let's make me useful.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining and welcome. Very happy to have you all here to answer some community questions and to give some updates outside of our regular community meeting, which we do have on Slack in the community meetings channel every week on Thursdays. So, without further ado, let's kick off this session. Lokesh, you're gonna kick things off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
With some updates.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. So take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Kia. So, a quick agenda about for today's session. It's like we are planning to share like what's coming up in the upcoming releases, um, and a few Q&A from community folks, and then followed by a parallel inspect parallel demo, which is an interesting feature which we have lined up for today's session. So yeah. All right. So there are two releases we are planning in month of May or by end of May or early June. So one is like Inspect 5 release, which is long pending one. There are a couple of bug fixes we have done for dependent profile issue and train plugin issue. And we also added a new resource on NFT tables recently. And there is also an feature related to train Kubernetes with Inspec bundle. So we are planning to release those items with Inspect 5 release,
Mhm.
which is going to be in the end of May. And so this is around the Inspect 5 release. It's a very quick update on this one.
Okay.
And then like we are also planning to have a new major upgrade, that is like an Inspect 6 release. So in Inspect 6 release, we are planning to launch the Inspect panel feature, which is a interesting feature requested by one of our major enterprise customer. So it is basically to allow Inspect to scan against multiple targets so that the users can increase their frequency and their audit time quickly. So that is the key feature we are planning to launch with Inspect 6, and that's going to be like a major one. It will be this would be like the target time frame is like by end of July or by starting of August. We are planning targeting this Inspect 6 release, and you will be seeing a lot of surprises coming up in this Inspect 6 release as well. Moving forward, we'll keep you posted like what are the surprises in that Inspect 6 item. And moving on to the next item. So regarding the content updates, so regarding audit and remediation content updates, we have completed the contents with respect to Oracle MySQL Community Server, Azure Foundations, Red Hat OpenShift Container Platform, IBM AX, RHEL 8 and RHEL 9 in the last quarter. So these are the completed profiles. So some of the profiles like Oracle, MySQL, Azure, and Red Hat, it will be available in the upcoming automate release. So if you want to have like use this audit content frequently, please drop a note to me. I can help you to share the audit content. And then with respect to remediation content, we have completed around related profile. So yeah, so this is around the audit and remediation related updates. And then there is the next slide we are covering the Q&A. Clinton, would you like to talk about this question and answer?
Lokesh, I did not even I'm sorry. I didn't share your screen. I didn't know that that was what I was supposed to be doing at this time. I just sent the message saying that, am I supposed to be sharing your screen? But I didn't even see anything moving. So I'm sorry
Oh
about
my
that.
God. Okay. Should I
But
run you again or?
nope, don't run through it again. We will post these slides. If you're comfortable with it, posting these slides to
Yes. Yeah.
in the comments. So
Yeah.
and then folks who are watching it after the fact can go and have a look at the slides as well. So Q&A. That's the next
Yes.
topic, and is that this is going to be from my screen. Okay. So, as promised, we are answering your community questions. This question here comes from WBY in the Chef InSpec channel in the community Slack. Just shameless plug, go ahead and join our community Slack if you want to have your questions answered on our live. So, WBY asks, is there a way to directly access the class? Or excuse me, is there a way to directly
So
access the class directly?
Mhm.
For example, stuff under @fetched here. If I get a failure like this for undefined method. It looks like WBY has been working on a fix for this. And Clinton, if you want to take it away, go ahead.
So yes, so interesting thing. So this is one of those X-Y things where you're asking for X, but you need Y. So this is a case where someone is asking for something that is completely unrelated to what they actually need. They're asking for how to access a private instance variable of something. What's actually happening here is they had opened a PR to change a enum to change a state variable from a pause value to back to an enum, which was turned out to be correct in the long run. It took us a while to evaluate it because it was a slight reversion, but we think that because they were the only person using the feature in the end, it was an okay reversion in the end. In the end, we decided to accept the PR and move forward with it. So we've moved forward with it. Samir, do you want to talk about the regeneration process with InSpec GCP?
Yeah, sure. So basically, once a user updates the magic module YML file, uh, so basically once he raises the PR, it comes to us. We approve it, validate it. It goes to the next process. Once PR is approved and merged, it goes to the mainstream. From there, we generate inspect GCP files, which is resource files, and then we create another PR to inspect GCP repository. That is the final code available to the user. Basically, if
Mm-hmm.
someone needs to develop anything, they need to raise the PR to Magic module. We'll validate it, we'll test it, and we'll raise the PR to inspect GCP.
Right. So now at that point, had we regenerated inspect GCP with the previous value at that point?
So for current state, one you are asking.
Never mind. I withdraw that question. So the point is, do you want to? we've now got a PR against InSpec GCP that has that feature that user was looking for in InSpec GCP ready to go. So we'll merge that in, and this user will have that feature they were looking for, and they don't have to hack around to get what they were looking for.
Awesome. Now that's great. I really appreciate being able to talk about this, talk through this, and get these community questions answered, and also especially when there's like a PR in the works, and being able to bring that to the team and kind of get things moving. So that's really great. It's very community or centered of you guys. So I want you guys to know that that is 100% appreciated from the community perspective. So cool. WBY, your PR has been merged as of today, and so you should not be experiencing the issue that you were experiencing. Look at us solving problems on these office hour sessions. Okay, so the next question is it takes 2 slides, and it's from Grovesy from the Chef InSpec topic in Discourse. Grovesy is new to InSpec and Ruby, and they hit their first blocker. They're struggling to troubleshoot solo. So I guess I won't read the entire question, but because everybody on this call has read it. But
right, this is one I'd like to interactively take on and work with and demo a little bit.
Okay, sure.
Interactively. All right. So, pardon me.
Would you like to share your screen?
Yep, that's what I'll do.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna remove mine, and whenever you're ready, I will share yours.
Okay, can you read that?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. All right. So you should have just seen the word hello appear in the lower part of the screen. And that is what I hope happened. Good. All right. So in the top part of my screen, I have a code editor. And in the bottom part of my screen, I have a terminal. And what I'm going to do is in the lower part of my screen, I'm going to run InSpec. And in the upper part of my screen, I'll write some code. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment a little bit with the JSON resource and the HTTP resource. So the HTTP resource is a resource that allows you to so the HTTP resource is a resource that allows you to do HTTP calls and fetch things across the web. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do an HTTP call and fetch a JSON object across the web. So in this case, I want to just fetch this thing, which is just a list. It's just happens to be any JSON object that happens to live on the web. This just happens to be a list of packages that are in the current that are available on the that are currently available in Automate. So it's just happens to be a JSON file that's available on the web. So let's play with this a little bit. So here we are in the InSpec shell. InSpec shell is a great tool. I love InSpec shell because it lets you play with resources interactively. If you're not familiar with InSpec shell, it's based on Pry. Pry is an interactive Ruby shell. So it's a debugger. So you've got access to all sorts of things like you have variables. You're able to say things like h equals HTTP. That, and now you've got an HTTP object. Fantastic. So I can say h dot body and get the entire text of the body if I want it. If I want it, there it is.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So InSpec's able to do that. So that's all that this is doing. So this line up here just says, go fetch the body. So when we're building this up, when we say JSON content, all we're saying is, go build a JSON object, go build a JSON resource, and use for the content of it, use the body of it that you fetch from this HTTP call. So now let's make a JSON object using the body of that. Sound good? So we're building up something here. We're going to now interpret that as JSON.
Go for it.
We're going to do that so that we can then run tests on it. This is what this user is trying to do. That they want to run tests on. They want to run JSON tests on, because InSpec knows how to speak JSON tests. It's one of its core resources.
Mm-hmm.
They want to integrate these two InSpec resources, HTTP and JSON. They want to integrate these two resources together. There we go. Should get a JSON content. Got it. So now I've got this smart object that knows all sorts of things. So one of the InSpec idioms that you can use over and over again is the params idiom. So you can say j.params to find out all sorts of information about it. You can basically find out, what does InSpec think about this thing? And you'll find out all sorts of stuff you can now ask. You can now say I could say j.build and query its build. Because if you look at the documentation for the JSON object, for the JSON InSpec resource, it's a dynamic resource. It generates dynamic methods, test methods based on whichever properties are present in the JSON object, so that you can query it dynamically. So it makes it for a very fluent language. So you can say things like this now. So I can say, if I know that this is present if I know that it's present in my data structure, like packages is, I can say packages.count. I can say j.packages.count, and I can expect that to be 61, which is very fluent. So I can very fluently say, describe its packages.count should compare to 61. So you don't have to write a whole bunch of specialized query languages. You don't have to know an XPath. You don't have to know a JMES language or anything like that in order to do a query language with InSpec. It's a very fluent language.
Nice. Yeah, that is. And that seems to be very, like the learning curve seems to be very low, and a low barrier to entry for folks who are just starting out, like Grovesy. So I hope, Grovesy, that we have managed to answer your question. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to join the community Slack and hit up any of the engineers. Well, I know Clinton's on the community Slack, so
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can definitely hit him up to ask follow-on questions, and we'll be sure to get answers for you. And also, there is a Chef InSpec channel on the community Slack where you can ask questions as well, because Clinton does have to sleep. So there's a large community of InSpec users that will be able to answer your questions pretty quickly. So thank you, Clinton, for going through that question. Okay, let me share my screen one more time. We've got one more question that we can kind of get interactive with. Um, this question is from Don Lewis from the Chef InSpec channel in the community Slack. So basically, Don is referring here to the docs. He's asking for a better example of a data block in the HTTP resource because the formatting that is provided doesn't work. So let me go ahead and while I'm here, let me pull up the docs and then we can work through it from here. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. This is the HTTP resource. Oh, I guess I can show. And we are referring to, yeah, the data block. Okay. Data. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Oh, no, you can't. You cannot. Okay.
Yeah, that's clearly nonsensical documentation. That's a problem. That documentation doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because the text specifies to pass it as a string and the example specifies to pass it as a hash.
So what would be the correct way to do that? Do you know off the top of your head, or
I'd have to read the code because the docs specify two different ways and one's clearly wrong. So
gotcha.
And for Windows, it is with single quotes, and for others, it is plain one. It's mentioned in the doc. For Windows specifically, they're single quotes.
that can I understand what the docs say, but I'm saying that cannot possibly be right. And if that is right, that is a severe bug. That on Windows it is a string, and on all other platforms it is a hash. If that is correct, that is a severe bug. Because then we have a severe platform dependency. So no, that is not acceptable. So I don't. That's not okay. So
Okay.
if that's the case, then we have to make that extremely clear in the docs because that's not clear from the docs. So
For sure.
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be unacceptable behavior in my opinion. That on Windows it's required to be a string, and on all other platforms it's required to be a hash. That would be very peculiar.
So then, in this case, what should we do? Should we?
I think we should file a bug on this.
Okay, let's get a bug filed, and then yeah, that works. We can go about it from there and update it properly in the documentation. Thank you so much, Don Lewis from the Chef InSpec channel in Slack, for bringing this to our attention because you know, no team is an island and sometimes mistakes happen. So definitely bring these things to our attention, and we will get them rectified ASAP. Awesome. Well, that was it for community questions. Actually, so what we'll do in this case is keep, you know, the community abreast of what is going on with this bug and how and when it gets fixed, and that'll probably come up on the community in the community meeting as we get more updates. Awesome. Does anyone else have anything to call out for this session before we wrap up, or are we good to wrap up? Because we've had some really good discussions and some really good troubleshooting sessions. So unless there's anything from the chat or anything that any of the rest of the team wants to call out, I think we could call this one a wrap. Great. Well,
Thanks, everyone. This has been great.
yes,
It's always great to spend time with the community. So this is good.
absolutely. And thank you so much, InSpec team, for coming and helping our community troubleshoot and identifying some bugs, and also getting PRs merged. I mean, I think this was a very productive session. So we will see you all again here in about 5 weeks for the next office hours session. And that's it. I guess we can call this one a wrap. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Thanks, everyone.